He's speechless.
All right, so see. What do you mean?
Those are great. That's
Very good. So thank you for coming. It's great to have you. First
Thank you
time
all.
at SuperMegaFest. Yeah.
SuperMegaFest. It used to be MegaFest back in the day, but now it's Super.
SuperFest, MegaFest.
Oh, then
they combine them to the SuperMegaFest.
And then if you guys downsize, it'll just be SuperFest. No Mega.
So, all right, good. So let's see. Excuse me. A few things I wanted to bring up, and then we can take some questions from the audience. Just, yeah, when I was doing some biographical research on you, interesting background, really interesting. You did mission work in Japan.
I did.
I bet a lot of people don't know that.
You know, if they're serious fans, they do.
Okay, well, but most people will know that, but for the few who might not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how'd that come about?
It was an LDS mission, so you know, it was just kind of something I always wanted to do.
Yeah. And how long were you over there?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
To learn the language?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah, the best I could. So
Yeah.
all the anime geeks here are like, "That's unfair." Geeky this yo.
Another thing, as growing up, you know, you were big into scouting, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your dad and brother as well, or was it a family thing?
Yeah, it was a big family thing.
Yeah.
My dad was like the ultimate scouter, so we just kind of all fell in line, and we all became Eagle Scouts, and I'm a Scoutmaster now myself.
Are you? That's great. That's really wonderful. That's great.
I'm corrupting lots of kids.
Oh.
Not doing any good, but it feels good for me. You know, it's like I'm doing a service, but not really.
No. So you still, but that's you're active as a Scoutmaster.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Let's see. You attended Brigham Young University, and that's where you met. Who was it? Jared Hess.
Jared Hess.
Yes. And the precursor to Napoleon Dynamite. Pekala? How do you pronounce it? Peluca, which means
For those who don't speak Japanese but speak Spanish, peluca is wig in Spanish. So because it's all about the wig that Pedro gets.
And from that
And that became just a little side thing in the movie,
Yes.
but in the short, yeah, it's all about him.
I mean, was the plan? Did he have the ambition to make it into something?
Jared's plan. He made the short as it was an assignment for school. We were in a college class together, and then he told me he knew that he always wanted to make a feature. And he's like, I want you to be in it. I don't know. I think we might do so. Honestly, I remember the first time he talked about doing a feature version, but it wasn't going to be about that character. It was going to be like me with a shaved head and my braces, something weird. But then he saw how popular the short became in like the college circuit. All the college kids, they loved it, and all our families loved it. So he's like, yeah, I think we're going to make the feature based on that character because we know who he was.
Yeah.
There's something great.
It's such a quirky movie. Right? It's wonderful. First time I saw it, watching it, I enjoyed it, and it ended.
The old try.
Right now. It was different. I had to think about it, but then there were things about it that just really.
You have to ponder it for
Yes,
a while.
you honestly
Let it
do.
sink in and
It
just
does because I was
slide into your bed at night and you know fondle your mind a little bit until you're like, oh, okay, and then you don't realize you've been doing it.
But then the second viewing,
Yes.
oh my God, it's just hilarious. It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's
thank you.
tremendous. Oh no, you're welcome. Thank you. Oh, it's an amazing movie. Yeah, and when you made it, I mean, did you have any idea that it would become such a huge pop culture iconic moment?
We had no idea. I mean,
Yeah.
when we made it, we always like to think of the filmmakers like we were the original fans, because I think what was fun about after it came out and became popular, I kept hearing from fans all over, like me and my high school buddies, or me and my friends, or me and my dad, whatever, you know, we're like, we were original fans, and everybody feels, because I think the cool thing about Napoleon was everybody felt like it was their personal movie. Like it was a small movie. It came out in like art theaters around the country. You had to travel miles to go see it. Maybe this Cineplex, and no actors were in it. So it just felt like, all right, I mean, it's like that feeling when we all discover a new band, and you're like, I know this band, and I don't want anybody else to like it, because it'll be ruined. And nobody, secretly all over the country, everybody was loving Napoleon, not knowing other people liked it, so it worked out great for us. But yeah, that's how we kind of felt when we shot it. We had no idea it was going to be distributed. We didn't have any, it was just an independent, so we didn't have a studio or any distribution deals. So we're like, as soon as we finished shooting a scene, we'd be quoting it. And we're like, well, we think it's great. Well, who knows if other people do. So.
One thing I remember when it was playing in the theaters, what time of the year was it released? Fall?
It was released in summer, but
Summer.
then
Okay.
it wasn't until fall that
Until
it
we
was
tried.
kind of got wide release.
Wide release, okay, because around the holidays, right after Thanksgiving, before Christmas, you know, the image, of course, you know, with the jacket over your shoulder, and you're dressed for the prom, with the
Yeah.
dance. They put the Santa hat on you in the, do you recall that, or?
I don't recall
No, that, I
all
was
the,
wondering if you know about that.
all the you know, the things that they did to me.
Yes, it was funny, go see the,
It's like, Merry Christmas, gosh.
yeah.
That's all I had to do.
Yes. I just mentioned it to you as we walked down, that film that, well, it's in development, I guess. It sounds very intriguing. It's based on a humorous science fiction novel
Yeah.
that's maybe, what, 10 or 15 years old?
Yeah.
Buddy Holly is alive
Yeah.
and well on Ganymede.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the premise sounds really
Yeah,
great,
it's,
perfect for you.
Yeah, it's,
talk
I mean,
about
it's
that?
yeah, I can tell, I mean, there's not, we're still hoping like a lot of other independent films, it's in the works and we're hoping to get it, you know, on 4 feet running. But it's about this guy who was raised by a mother obsessed with Buddy Holly, and he discovers Buddy Holly is actually alive, but living on the moon of Ganymede. So it's kind of a weird thing, but it's really about this like kind of road trip journey of this guy's self-discovery, how he can save the world from alien invasion through the power and music. It sounds really weird, but it's a very relatable story. It's a very nice little thing. And if you go to YouTube, you can find the little teaser trailer that we shot a couple of years ago. But yeah.
Let's hope for the best with that. But
Yeah,
that sounds
fingers
fun.
crossed.
You know, I'm sorry, I'm embarrassed to say this. One film of yours I saw that I enjoyed, and I cannot remember the name of it. The one with Billy Bob Thornton.
A School for Scoundrels.
That's it. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that was neat. What was it like doing that with him?
He's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I was coming off of like having. I mean, I've been a fan of his, but after seeing Bad Santa, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's a comic genius. But also, if you've seen Sling Blade, there's not a comedy film, but creating a character that's so fleshed out and like felt very real. And what was fun is when we were doing publicity for the film, we did a little scene where it was Napoleon talking to Carl, his character that was Sling Blade, because they're both kind of like small town guys who are kind of mentally challenged and both love potato products. Like potato wedges versus tater tots. It's on the TV channel.
It's funny, the character of Napoleon Dynamite, a couple things I wanted to say, and we can take some questions, but when I was watching the film at home and with my wife and 2 oldest children, and she's a teacher, and she said, she made a comment, she said, you know, if this game had come up now, that the character would be considered with the autistic spectrum, Asperger's. She wasn't joking, I said, you know, actually, good point. You know, I don't know if that's ever been.
No, it's never been
It's,
mentioned.
but, yeah, because he's so, do you know what I mean though?
Oh yeah, no, I know what you mean.
He's-
No, there's lots of things going on.
That's,
I've just never been diagnosed until an official. Yeah, I could be like the poster boy on a lot of those things.
yeah, but
No, he probably does seriously have some, like, I mean, his mom and dad are out of the picture, who knows?
Yes,
His grandma's
it's-
weird, and his, yeah.
Uncle.
And he's basically raised by, I guess, his older brother who's tiny and weak. I guess we know what, yeah, I think Napoleon's mom goes to college. Anyway,
the last thing, I read this, no, it might have been the commentary, or I believe it's the commentary, but it's almost hard to place, to place the film as far as when it takes place. Because,
Yeah.
but there was a comment, I think one of the creators involved
Yeah.
made regarding that, saying, because you've got moon boots on. Well,
Yeah.
that was an 80s thing, right?
Mhm.
But then there's the internet.
And that's a 90s, 2000s
Yes,
thing.
so, but then someone said, the Midwest is often, well, was it 5 or 10 years behind?
Yeah.
Like the West Coast and the East Coast.
You go to any small town, and that's the whole point. It's just like, it's always, oh, welcome.
Oh no! Don't look at me! I'm trying to be clandestine! We were trying to be discreet! I'm trying to be clandestine!
No, like, I mean, if you've ever been to small town USA, it's always just a little bit behind the times, you know, in fashion, in style, and pop culture.
Yeah.
So that's why we have the references. It is modern day, but it is, we really tried to capture that essence of like, which is, I think, extremely liberating. We could put it, let's have a school dance and have them wear these ridiculous outfits or play this kind of music because they wouldn't know any better. They don't have, and we shot in 2003, so I don't even think Twitter and
that was way
Facebook
before
was
that.
around.
Yeah.
So if we did it now, it'd be hard to really do that. Maybe.
But yeah, it's different. I'm sorry. The movie. I just love the movie. It's so funny. And I can just go on, but I don't want to be completely selfish. But I got to say one more thing. There's an actor. I don't know if he's an actor or just you grabbed him off the street. But the guy who says something like,
Lyle the farmer.
I don't know. I rewound it. I rewound it 10 times. And my son, Dad, just put the subtitles on. I thought, yeah, I can do that. So I put the subtitles on.
And all of a sudden, your eyes, the veil's been lifted, and you know what he's saying.
Deal? What's his story?
I think, well, he was real. He was like, I mean, when you
Was
get
it
these
computer
really
generated?
fun, that was where all our budget went. What happens with these fun, charming little like independent films where you shoot it out in the real place where it takes place, you get real people, and this is where Jared Hess, the writer-director, he grew up in Preston, Idaho. So, I mean, all throughout the film, it's almost like a game, who's an actor and who's the real deal. And it was like Lyle the farmer was definitely the real deal. He had been run over by a tractor and hit by lightning. That's why he had a stroke. So
at the same time?
That would be the worst accident. Obituary would be long. But he really was paralyzed on half of his face, so he could only talk. No. We all laugh at people's impediments. Not Napoleon, who's clearly Asperger's. But yeah, he says what's the line? He says over there the other day I found some Shoshone Indian arrowheads. So anything he said was kind of cool. But I'm trying to think who else is real. But the other farmer was an actor. So we kind of mixed in those, we tried to deceive the audience.
That's neat though.
I know the kid who plays Randy, who shoves me into the locker and stuff. He was real.
Oh,
he was real.
Yeah.
He was real.
Good
He was
job.
real and good space.
He was a real actor.
Yeah, he was in a short film as well. He's one of the only other actors who's in a short film. It's also real. I mean, all the kids in the high school, all the extras were all high school.
That was the real school as well?
It was a real school,
neat,
all the real
Where he went,
high school kids.
Jared has attended.
Yeah,
That's
attended.
cool, yeah.
And except for the actors who portrayed Dawn and Summer and Trisha, those were actors.
What about the rather odd administrator? Is he the principal?
Yeah, he was the Principal Spadine. He was actually our he was the head of the theater and film department at BYU at this time. So
Got him, that's cool.
fun little thing. Yeah.
Nice. We should take some questions from the
Yeah.
audience. Anyone have yes? Okay.
I was just wondering, do you think you'd actually be up for Napoleon Dynamite 2 for a reunion of some sort that isn't the animated series?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we thought, I'd be up for it for sure if Jared Hess was involved and he wanted to, if he had wanted, this was his vision from the get-go. So if he wrote another script and he was cool with it, I would totally do it. But who knows? I mean, we did that with it was kind of, I think, what they were doing with the animated series. And we're still trying to, fingers crossed, still trying to get that back on either Netflix or YouTube or something,
Is anyone else questions? Oh, right there.
Your movies are obviously very quotable. My niece wants to wear everybody's skin for her birthday. Do you have
It's glory.
lines that you are just tired of people asking you to do?
Tired? Well, most of the time I don't have to do it. They just do it. They're so sweet. My fans are, you guys are sweethearts. I think, the one that took me by surprise that we had no idea people would care is the number one line everybody loves is teeny fat lard comes with some tea. There's no context. Who's like, there's universal lines that we all say, like, gosh, you're flipping idiot. That's easy. Because you can create a context, like teeny fat lard. Really, when I have to guess people's favorite line, they're like, how'd you know? I don't get sick and tired of. I always try to come up with ones that nobody ever quotes, but they're all pretty awesome. Like, shut up, say something the whole world here.
Did you see the young lad who he was doing a spelling bee?
Yeah.
And,
oh yeah, I saw that.
Did
you say the chickens have large teeth?
Yes.
There's this kid syndicated big spelling bee thing. This kid was up there. He's spelling a word, big nerd, and he's spelling a word, and then he just randomly says, "Do the chickens have large talons?" And the judges and audience is like, they don't even think they caught it. He's the only one laughing. He's like when he walks off stage, high-fiving his little kid. But then everybody's like, what did my son just do?
Did you have a chance to, for improvisation and ad-libbing? Because there's one of my favorite scenes. I laugh so much at this. And it's when Uncle Rico and Kip are talking on the steps. Uncle Rico is regaling him with his, tales of epic glory of football. You can throw it a quarter mile, I can throw it over the mountains. And then you and Paige will come riding in. And then Rico takes Kip's steak. And he takes his steak and he stands up and he flings it, hits you in the face, and then out of nowhere, Kip.
It's like a piece of art.
Kip's line was what gets me every time. That's what I'm talking about. Did he just throw that in or what?
No, that almost the entire movie is all scripted exactly. I think because that was one thing that helped it was, it was the minimalism because there's so many quotable lines, but at the same time, it's not like it's just fast-paced dialogue. It's just a lot of heavy breathing in between. That's a good line. I don't know how I write that on an autograph.
Peanut side, Charlie Brown on his side.
But no, for the main part, it was all pretty controlled and pretty scripted. I mean, we didn't want to touch it because it was pretty awesome. And I think, you just have to learn how to roll. That scene in particular was scary because it's like, scary in that, it was an independent film. We don't have every scene we're shooting, you only do 3 or 4 takes at the most, and then we have to move on because we're, burning daylight and stuff. And this scene, we're like, I don't know how we're gonna do it because he wants to get this steak hitting me from far away, and we don't have a steak gun or anything like that. Well, everybody's throwing it and they're trying to be careful by just throwing it underhand and missing me, and I'm like, you guys just throw it overhand. Don't worry about it. And then it was actually John Grice who plays Uncle Rico who said, no, I'm going to be the one to throw it because there's all the PAs and stuff throwing it. It's like, look, I'm the character. I'm the one who throws it. Let me throw it from off camera because I used to play some football. And he's the one who threw it. He just and it ripped the glasses off and left a little I bled on my nose, and in the moment I was just so scared. That's when you really get nervous because I was like, if I break character, we're screwed. They're gonna hate me because they're like, well, we're never gonna get that shot again. So they hit me, and I was just I think it was easy actually because I was just pissed that he hit me. I was like, oh. Yes, that was a story. And the other fun little moment in that, I think that was on the commentary, but I love it, is that John Grice is kind of a vegetarian. Yes. So if you look closely at that scene where he's eating the steak out on the porch, and after he throws the steak, and he's sitting down, he's like, chewing on. He would just chew on the pieces. He'd normally hide them, but in this, he'd sit, and he like throws it in a little napkin. He takes some meat out of his mouth. He probably would have swallowed if it was good meat, but when you're shooting films, most of the food it gets cold after 2 seconds. It gets nasty.
Yes.
I love that you talked about the Asperger's. I work in special education for 25 years, and the speech department where I work, Napoleon Dynamite, is their favorite movie of all time. And if you could just do a shout out to Martha Ringen.
Martha Ringen?
Yeah, she loves you, and she works with these kids all the time for like the last 25 years.
Martha Ringen, just learn how to speak already. Okay? You see ya.
And I wanted to say, I just looked, when you brought up Buddy Holly's Alive and Well and Ganymede, I love Bradley Denton's, and I've seen him at many science fiction conventions, and he's like my Facebook friend, and he's so thrilled that this project is moving ahead, and I had no idea until this panel that you were attached to it. So full speed ahead. I want to see that movie, even now more than ever.
Yeah, so do I.
Cool. So let's check out the mini trailer. What was it again?
It's like a teaser trailer.
A teaser trailer.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, sorry.
Teasers. Just a noob.
2 days a year.
I'm a big fan of Surf's Up,
Oh, thank you.
and I was wondering if you could just talk about that. It was such an interesting cartoon project, and it looks like a documentary.
Yeah. I mean, they were trying to.
The process of, like, was there improv involved?
Yeah, a lot of improv. They were definitely trying to go for that. Hey, let's do it. I mean, it's when these mockumentaries were getting really popular, and they're like, let's do an animated one. That's never been done, and it could be interesting. So it was funny because I'd done voices for a couple. I did one for Monster House, and Surf's Up, and both of them were done in the very non-typical way because Monster House was motion captured, so we had to wear the suits with the reflective balls, and it was our body movement and everything, and our facial movement that they would capture. So that was not your typical way of doing that. And then with Surf's Up, typically when you do voiceover, you're in a booth, you have your headphones on, and you just read the lines, and sometimes you'll see playback. But with this one, they would put all the actors in the scene in one kind of giant booth. And they'd have the ghost script, but we just read it, and then we just kind of start riffing because they wanted to give it that kind of authentic documentary feel. Like we just say whatever. So we just would do a lot of takes, and we had no idea what was going to be used until we saw the movie. And I thought it turned out really well, but it was cool.
Chicken Joe was hilarious.
Thank you very much.
I love you, Animal Barrel.
That's a question? What question?
I was wondering what it was like to work with Will Ferrell. Did he ever prank you or anything? Or was
Frank, he was so tall and hairy. He was kind of like, I was the freshman and he was the senior in high school, but he was like that nice jock guy, like the Charlie Sheen and Lucas, right? He was the guy who watched out for me and stuff like that because I was clueless, didn't know what I was doing. Although I was pretty darn good at ice skating.
I was gonna say.
He did what he could, but most of the skating scenes are wire removal. They have to put him on wires and make sure, because he's big and it's hard to ice skate if you're a big guy. So we always joked that he was the Clydesdale and I was the chauffeur. He would do all the heavy lifting, literally heavy lifting, and I was just the literally little show pony peacock. But he was super nice, really cool, down to earth, not like this weird, crazy, egotistical, actor.
Did we usually see?
Yeah, like you usually see. So it was a total pleasure. It was like a dream come true.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's good. Any other questions? Let's see. Okay, right, yep.
So someone in my high school, for a talent show, did like a perfect reenactment of the dance scene, and he wore the wig and he wore the Vote for Pedro shirt. What is the weirdest thing someone's come up to you and done?
To like show their fandomness. I did kind of similar to this, like back. I once had a fan come up at like a little gathering kind of like this, and actually it was it was in a stadium, and not a stadium, it was like, anyways, a theater. And he had a stick, he brought a stick with him, he's like, I want you to throw the stick at me so that you can channel your revenge. So I stood on one side of the stage, he stood on the other, and he gave me this nasty steak, and I threw it, and I hit him in the face. So I was like really stoked, and he was like, yeah, and he was like blood dripping. It was the cow's blood. So that was pretty weird. I've had fans cook me tots. But just for future reference, for any other celebrities you might meet or me in the future, tots go soggy really fast. Crisp and right there and ready. It's almost like I get these bags and it's just like, oh, there's I'm very grateful. That's your niece.
Yes.
Are you trying to keep that secret?
Yeah.
Shout out to niece.
Noel, yeah.
Great question, but
Hey.
yeah. What other weird things? I signed a bra yesterday. It was off.
Very nice.
That sounds worse. It was someone else's, I think. Anyways. Oh, yeah. That. I remember that one pretty well. Like throwing steak in someone's face. It was more of a, you don't get to usually do that. So I cherished it, relished in that.
Yes, I think that's
So many of your roles, physicality plays such an important part. Do you, I forgot, I didn't maybe read up on this, but do you have any, at Brigham Young, did you do stage work? Did you, on stage, did you do theater or?
I didn't do,
learn
I mean,
physical?
I did, I took an acting class and I did a lot of, auditioning for theater and was in a couple student films, but I didn't really train really. I had just a lot of influences. Growing up in high school in the 90s and early 2000s, it's like people like Jack Black and Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell, just big influences on physical comedy. Chris Farley was a big fan. So I really took a lot from them and just what they brought to the screen in terms of physical comedy. And then dancing skills were just college after showers, just alone, listening to music, having a huge mirror and watching myself dance. That's how I practiced.
You did that yourself.
That was all of
Yes.
Yes, the dancing was
Great.
The dancing was kind of like, I like to boogie, and that's what when we did the short film, we actually, I think it got cut out because it just didn't make sense, but Jared's wife who co-wrote the film, she, at the end of shooting the short film, she's like, well, I know you like the boogie, I think I've seen it. And I think we're going to just have you dance in the ending credits of the short film, which I did, but it just doesn't match, so they cut it. But then Jared came back, and it was when he said, we're going to make the feature film. He said, well, hey, we want to have you dance in the feature. I was like, cool. And he's like, and it's going to be the climax, the most important moment of the movie. What? Crazy. Like, what the crap am I going to do? So he's like, don't worry, we'll shoot it at the very end of the shooting schedule, like the whole month we took to shoot. And he's like, at the end, we'll shoot that. So you have time to prepare. I was like, what? I'm like, prepare? I don't know how to choreograph anything. So the whole month I was like kind of sweating in and like, what am I gonna do? And then I was like, I don't know. I guess I could choreograph, or I'll just do what I normally do. Just play music. I was like, just do that. Play music and I'll just feel it. And I'll just say it. So I just got up and danced like three different songs. because we didn't know which song we'd use at the time. So, and then they just kind of took the best of each dance and put it together. So, and at the end of each time they'd be done, I was like, cut it, and I'd be like puking because it was so like tiring. Okay, sorry.
I have a line request from you. That's okay.
All right.
Could you describe a liger to us?
Tiger? It's pretty much my favorite animal. It's like a lion and a tiger mixed, bred for its skills and magic. Or there's also a Tygon. That's a male tiger bred with a female lion, bred for its skills in treachery. It's like the Voldemort to the Harry Potter. The Tygon's the evil and the liger's the good.
Yes.
Just a general question, fan related or otherwise, what are some of your pet peeves in general, whether generally
Sounds like
speaking?
a magazine question.
Yeah.
Some of my pet peeves. What are some of yours? And I'll agree. My pet peeves. I don't know. I mean, I'm a pretty, easygoing guy. Things I just hate.
What about fears? I'll change it then.
Fears?
Any weird fears or anything that creeps you out?
Listen to this stuff.
I'm sorry, my question was stolen.
No. What am I afraid of? What are my deepest, darkest
Be
fears?
careful, because it could come to the next signing.
You what?
It could come to the next signing.
Yeah.
Say it or not. Careful.
I don't know. Shoot, I'm like drawing a blank. What's a good fear to have? Sharks? Yeah, sharks suck. I do love the ocean. But there's something really freaky when you're like, you go underneath and you just can't see the bottom. Like if you're in a lake and you can't see the bottom, it's freaky, isn't it? Yeah. Like that monster from The Quest, starring Henry Thomas, might get you. No, it is. Sweet. I am the cinephile here, not you guys. The Quest, 1980s. Henry Thomas from EC. Yes. Go check it out. It's pretty sweet.
It's not.
The what? Huh?
The worst movie ever. The Quest is awful. You just
Well, I
lied to
haven't seen
everybody
it in
in
a
this
while.
room. Go rewatch it and you tell me that it's
It's
a
a
good
great reference. That's what we do, right?
It's a
We
great
reference. We quote things. And it's whoever can out-reference and out-quote something. It's the winner. So, that's no, yeah, dark, murky ponds would be great. I don't know, those are random features. So my pet peeve is rudeness. I don't know.